The first thing I noticed when I opened my eyes that morning was the silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that felt like the world was holding its breath. The second thing I noticed was my own face staring back at me from across the street. I stood on the porch of the house opposite mine, holding a cup of coffee, wearing my blue hoodie, my messy brown bun, even the same chipped pink nail polish. For a moment, I thought it was some kind of reflection. Then she waved, and behind her, the neighbors came out. All of them. Men, women, children. Every one of them had my face, my body, my voice. "Good morning, Melissa," they all said in unison. I dropped my phone. The sound of it shattering on the porch seemed to break whatever illusion I was in. But when I turned to run back inside, my mother stepped out of the kitchen. Except she wasn't my mother anymore. She was me. Her lips moved exactly the way mine did when I was scared. "Where you going, Melissa?" That was when I screamed. But the screams came from everywhere. From houses, the cars, the park, all of them screaming in my voice. It echoed and multiplied until it was unbearable, until the air itself seemed to shake. Then everything went quiet again. Only one version of me was still standing, the one on my porch. Everyone else froze in place, their eyes open but empty like dolls. The me on the porch smiled, that crooked, nervous smile I always hated. "This is how it feels," she whispered, "to be seen." And then she started walking toward me. That was 2 hours ago. Now, I'm hiding in my bedroom with the blinds closed, trying to figure out what's happening. My laptop still works, but every photo in my gallery, every selfie, every family picture, they've all changed. Every face in them is mine, even the ones from years ago. The photos of my mom and dad holding me as a baby, now they're both me. My high school prom photo, every single person in the background, me. I don't know if I'm dreaming, dead, or trapped in some kind of glitch in reality. But one thing I'm sure of, the world outside isn't the same. Someone just knocked on my door. 3 soft knocks. Then my own voice said, "Melissa, it's time to wake up. Melissa, it's time to wake up." The voice outside the door wasn't just mine. It was perfectly mine. Same rhythm, same nervous tremble, even the same tiny breath between words. I didn't move. The handle turned once. Slowly, my heart hammered in my chest. I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a lamp, and aimed it at the door like it was a weapon. The metal knob clicked again, then stopped. Silence. Then my phone, the one I dropped earlier, began vibrating on the floor beside me. The screen was cracked, the glass spiderweb, but it was still working. The caller ID said, "Melissa, you." I stared at it. The vibration rattled against the wooden floorboards, echoing in the quiet. I answered. There was no sound at first, just breathing, my own breathing. Then a faint whisper, distorted, like it was coming through a tunnel. "Don't open the door." I froze. "Who is this?" "You," the voice said, "but not this you." Before I could say anything, the line cut off. Then a new sound, a slow, dragging scrape against the door, like nails. I looked down, and through the gap at the bottom of the door, I saw fingers. My fingers, pale, trembling, leaving streaks of blood as they clawed the wood. I stumbled back, tripping over the lamp cord. The door began to shake. And then it stopped. No footsteps. No breathing. Nothing. I waited for what felt like forever before daring to crawl forward. The fingers were gone. I pressed my ear against the door. Nothing. I slowly opened it and gasped. The hallway outside wasn't my house anymore. It was a hallway lined with mirrors, hundreds of them, floor to ceiling. Each mirror reflected me standing there, but every reflection moved a little off. One blinked too slow. One smiled when I didn't. One turned its head completely backward. The air was thick and cold, like the world itself was holding its breath again. I stepped forward, my bare feet echoing on the smooth floor. The mirrors followed me as I walked, each reflection more distorted than the last. In one, my eyes were missing. In another, my face was stretched too long. Then I reached the last mirror. It didn't show me. It showed my town. From above. Every house, every street. Just like it was an hour ago, except every person in town was walking in perfect circles, all wearing my face, all moving in sync. Then one of them stopped and looked up directly at me through the mirror and smiled. The glass began to ripple, like water disturbed by a drop. A hand, my hand, reached out from the reflection and grabbed my wrist. It was freezing cold, and I could feel my pulse through its palm. "Wake up," it whispered again. The mirror shattered. I fell backward, landing hard on the floor. When I looked around, I was no longer in the hallway. I was outside, in the middle of my street, but everything was wrong. The sky was pink, the houses half melted, and the world was completely silent again, except for one sound. Footsteps. I turned and saw dozens of me walking toward me from every direction, their eyes glowing faintly white in the strange light. And from behind them, a voice, the same one from the phone, calm but urgent, said, "Melissa, listen carefully. You're in the reflection now. If you don't leave before sunrise, there won't be a sunrise." Then the voice faded, and the other versions of me stopped walking and started running, straight toward me. The night, after Mia's strange discovery, was colder than usual. The air felt heavier, thicker, as if the house itself was holding its breath. She sat on the edge of her bed, hugging her knees, staring at the baby monitor. It was off. She had unplugged it hours ago. Still, faintly, almost like a whisper, she could hear it. That cry, soft, broken, trembling. The baby was crying again. Mia's chest tightened. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "It's not real." But she knew she had heard it before. Every night since the first time. Same pitch, same rhythm, same distance, as if coming from a place that didn't exist anymore. She reached for her phone and hit record, aiming the mic toward the dark hallway. Seconds passed. Nothing. Then a sharp sound pierced the silence. A soft rattle, then a whimper. Her heart raced. The sound was louder now, echoing through the baby monitor speaker. But the monitor wasn't even plugged in. She dropped her phone. It hit the floor with a dull thud. She ran to the nursery. The room was still. The rocking chair was swaying gently, back and forth, like someone had just been sitting there. The window was open, curtains fluttering. The air smelled faintly of baby powder and something sour underneath. Then Mia froze. A toy mobile above the crib, one she hadn't seen in months, was spinning slowly. It was the one from her old house, the one that had been packed in a sealed box in the attic. She felt the room tilt. Her knees weakened. How could it be here? She reached for it with trembling fingers, her breath short. And just as she touched one of the tiny dangling stars, she heard it, a baby's giggle. It wasn't coming from the monitor this time. It was behind her. Mia spun around so fast she stumbled into the crib. The room looked empty. But then, her phone lit up on the floor across the room, buzzing with a new notification. The screen said, "Audio save 0:59 seconds." She picked it up, tapped play, and listened. At first, only static. Then, slowly, a baby's cry. But layered beneath it, like a second voice hidden behind the first, came a whisper that said her name. "Mia." Her breath caught in her throat. "Mia, why did you leave me?" The phone slipped from her hand and clattered onto the wooden floor. She stumbled backward toward the door, unable to look away. The voice came again, louder this time, breaking through the static. "Mia, you promise." The lights flickered. The rocking chair stopped moving. And just as everything went silent again, her phone screen lit up by itself. The baby monitor app had reopened, but instead of showing the nursery, it showed her bedroom. And standing in the middle of her bed was a small, shadowy figure, shaped like a baby, watching the camera directly. The phone buzzed once more and displayed a message that wasn't supposed to be there, connected to yesterday's feed. Mia's scream caught in her throat. She could barely move. Her phone suddenly powered off. The room plunged into darkness. Then from the crib, something shifted. A small hand, pale and cold, gripped the edge, and the crying started again. Louder, closer. She turned to run, but the door slammed shut before she could reach it. The baby's voice turned into a low, rattling laugh, and this time it spoke. "You shouldn't have left me there, Mommy." The lights burst. The monitor static filled the air, and the last thing Mia saw, before everything went black, was a mobile spinning wildly above the crib, faster and faster, as if the whole room was caught in yesterday.